I think the crucial bit of evidence was from a credible witness who talked about Khalif coming out from underneath the van, the lorry, and then from there they would have then centred their investigation on CCTV footage from vehicles to establish where he went from there.
Escaped Wandsworth prisoner Daniel Khalife has been arrested. Metropolitan Police have been focusing the national manhunt for Khalif in Chiswick after he was sighted in the West London region. He'd been on the run for 3 days. Rishi Sunak spoke earlier. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I'm very pleased with the news, and my thanks to the police officers for their fantastic work over the past couple of days, but also to the public who came forward with an enormous number of leads to help the police in their inquiries. It's good news that we've recaptured the person concerned. As people already know, the Justice Secretary has initiated an inquiry into the circumstances of his escape, and that work will continue. But this is obviously very welcome news, and again, my thanks to the police, but also to the public for their help.
The Prime Minister speaking earlier. Let's welcome to the show Dal Babu, a former Chief Superintendent in the Metropolitan Police. Dal, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Good afternoon.
Dal, can you talk us through the last 24 hours of what must have been going on at the Metropolitan Police?
Well, I think with a manhunt, the key thing is time, crucial. Is time. The longer somebody is at large, the larger the distance that they can travel and the assistance they get. And there was a lot of information at the beginning about whether this was an inside job, whether he had support, where he would be. We had ports being looked at. There was lots of speculation around where he'd been seen. I think the police have to decipher lots of information that comes in, so they have an intelligence cell. I'm afraid these kind of things attract people who are attention seekers, people who really want to create mischief. So the police have to get the information. And there was lots of information that was coming forward, which would have had no value, but still needs to be looked at. I think the crucial bit of evidence was from a credible witness who talked about Khalif coming out from underneath the van, the lorry. And then from there, they would have then centred their investigation on CCTV footage from vehicles to establish where he went from there. And I think that was a breakthrough. So that was a breakthrough that came through yesterday. Of course, you've had the reward, but I think most people would be public spirited. They'd want to try and share information that was going to be of some value. And the reward very clearly says that information that directly leads to the arrest. So that would have been an additional amount of information that comes in. I think what will now happen is that there'll be a inquest into how this happened. But up until now, the police have just been focusing on the manhunt.
You said time is of the most importance, and we started off with a sighting of the suspect coming out of the van or underneath the van in Wandsworth roundabout. Now, Chiswick is not that far away. Are you surprised that he managed to even make it to Chiswick with the amount of CCTV cameras that we have in London? It's one of the most surveilled cities. Are you surprised that he actually even got to Chiswick without being spotted earlier?
There may well be information about somebody matching his description, and the police would have to go through all that information. I think we also had information that he jumped into a cab and somebody'd seen somebody some distance away. So I think the difficulty the police have, they have to go through all that information. Some of it they'll share with the public, some of it they won't. But I think that was a crucial bit of information, and he was still in and around that area. He would have tried to change his appearance in some way, different clothing. All of those things would have happened because he was in quite distinctive prison chef uniform when he left. So I think he was still in and around that area, which makes the search a lot easier for the police. But they would have, once they'd had that information about him coming out from underneath the lorry credibly, then they would have then looked at bringing resources that would have been perhaps deployed at ports elsewhere across the country back into London and focusing on in that area.
How surprised were you at the beginning of this whole story that what appeared to be standard practice, which is using mirrors to check underneath of any vehicle that enters and leaves prison, that hadn't been carried out on this occasion?
Well, I mean, and that will be a separate inquiry now, which will look at what were the staffing levels, what was the training that the officers had, was the airlock put into place, how many officers were on duty in the kitchen, how many of them were civilians. All of that will sort of come out in the investigation, and I think the focus has been up until now is put all our energy into catching this individual and working with the media and the public to try and get as much information. But you're quite right. I mean, there will be a focus on that, and it will be, you have the issue around the Prison Officers Association saying, well, we haven't got enough staff. Staff are leaving very, very quickly. And then from the government point of view, they're saying, well, we're doing a lot of recruitment here. The prison inspectorate has said his view is that the prison needs to be shut down. There is other views that it needs additional resources and staffing. So I think the debate will shift to our prisons from the manhunt.
Okay, Dal Babu, as ever, thanks for giving us your time.